If you're in sales, working ridiculous hours, and you want to be making 10K a month, but you're stuck grinding it out to only take home between 3 and 6K every single month, then you're going to want to hear this. You probably know how to sell and you're not afraid of hard work, but you're not quite scaling your income to where you want it to be. Okay, you know you're capable of selling and making so much more, but you're quickly realizing that you're rowing in the wrong boat and selling in the wrong industry in order to do that. Warren Buffett once said, it's not about how hard you row, it's about what boat you're in. And in 2024, the best way to crack 6 figures and beyond is by becoming a high ticket closer. Here's why. With high ticket sales, all you have to do is take pre-booked calls on your calendar, wherever you want in the world, on your own schedule, with warm leads. And you just earn cold hard commission checks without ever having to lead source, door knock, cold call, or ever enter a physical office ever again. So if that sounds like you and you want to leverage your current skill set and your previous experience to make 10K a month or more by taking calls from your laptop anywhere in the world, then I want you to keep listening. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the 7-step guide on how one simple change in industry completely changed my life and how it could potentially change yours. This is exactly how I went from selling in retail to 25K a month in commissions, working just 4 hours a day in Bali. We get told all the time by sales trainers, sales managers alike, that you just need to call more leads, dial more people, knock more doors, get better training, and you'll eventually make the money that you want. But deep down, you know it's something a little bit more than that, right? In fact, it's probably the main reason why you clicked on the video in the first place, and I can confirm your suspicions. After spending so much money on sales training, it's not just your skills, it's the boat that you're in. Step 1, the vehicle. So let's take a step back for a minute and actually explore what is this magical boat that I'm talking about. What is high ticket sales and what is a high ticket closer? High ticket closer is just a fancy name, label, and title for a salesperson in the e-learning market. But the thing is, the industry that I'm talking about is probably a whole lot more lucrative than what you've been used to. Let's break this down. If you've had any type of social media the past couple of years, I'm sure you've probably been hit with an ad on how to make money online. Think Forex, affiliate marketing, drop shipping, how to start your own marketing agency. You've probably heard of a few, you've probably seen of a few. Now, behind these ads are actually legitimate companies and businesses that actually help people with what they're claiming. It's not about just making money online either. It could be dating coaching. It could be how to quit smoking. It could be help with procrastination. It could be across a plethora of different industries and categories. Some of these companies are good and some of these companies are bad. How you can differentiate between the two, put very simply, is number 1, has the person actually done and achieved the outcome that they're teaching people to do? And number 2, do they have testimonials, case studies, and social proof everywhere showing that they are actually helping people with what they're claiming to help people with? It's very important to develop what I call as screening skills to determine whether or not the business is going to make you money or not. We'll talk more about that stuff a little bit later on. Now, moving on from there, this ad is the beginning of a sales process for most of these businesses. In the high ticket world, we call this a funnel. You may or may not be used to that term already. What a funnel does is it takes someone who raises their hand and says, I have a problem, to create interest and book a call with the company that you work for. So they'll click on an ad, they'll put in their name, email, phone number, put down their information and become a lead for a freebie, free resource, PDF, ebook, or watching a webinar or something like that. Basically, long story short, they generate all the leads for you. So what this means to you is you don't have to go out cold calling, door knocking, or self-lead source to actually earn your commissions. Now, as I'm sure you're probably aware, here's the big problem that you can solve. These business owners have a lot of money, but not a lot of time to talk to these interested people for their business. And that's where you come in as a salesperson, but for this particular industry. And again, as you're probably already familiar with, you're going to get on calls with these prospects. You're going to find out what it is they're looking for, what's their current situation, what's their problems, what have they tried in the past, what is their ideal solution, what's their goals, what are the ramifications of not solving the problem, and pitching them if they're a qualified fit for what you offer. And just like that, after a 30 to 45 minute sales call, if you end up closing the prospect, typically on average, you're going to be getting anywhere between 10 and 20% in commissions from a $5,000 product all the way up to $100,000. And once the deal is closed, that's it, you're done. Typically at that point, it's already handed off to the fulfillment of the offer. No cold calling, no door knocking, no burnout. The biggest resistance to most beginners and newbies getting into this industry is that they cannot sell and they lack experience. If you're watching this video, you've probably already got some experience in door knocking, cold calling, phone sales, face-to-face sales. You've got some experience is what I'm trying to say. So this transition would be significantly easier for you compared to the average Joe that's never picked up the phone. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, bro, come on, like you're having a laugh, like this is just not real. You might be taking the piss. I'm telling you, this is real. I've been living and breathing this industry for the better part of the last 5 years. The online education space / the e-learning industry was estimated to be valued at 235 billion in 2022 alone. It's forecasted to grow to 648.6 billion in 2030. That's nearly triple than what it was 2 years ago in just an 8-year time frame. This industry isn't going anywhere. So what does that mean for you, my friend? You may very well have been sitting on a gold mine your entire sales career without ever knowing it existed. So let's break this down from a math side of things so you can understand things a little bit better. Typically across the board, we see on average a 10% commission rate per sale for what you're selling. Let's say hypothetically you have 5 calls a day that all show up 5 days a week. That's going to net you 25 conversations, 25 opportunities every single week. And keep in mind, these are warm opportunities. They're not just some average Joe that you've cold called. These are people who have actually expressed interest in what you're offering. If you can say within KPI, which is the key performance indicator for the offer, let's say it's 20% conversion rate. Let's say that you're making 10% commission rate of a $5,000 product. You're making $500 per sale. You need 5 sales per week to be making 10K a month. And if we simply sell more expensive stuff like a $10,000 offer, we could be making $1,000 per sale. Let's break this down one more time with the $7,500 offer. If you have 25 calls a week, and again, you're at the bottom end of a closing rate at 20%, that right there is going to give you $750 in commissions every sale that you make. That means you'll be netting over $15,000 every single month. Is it that easy? No. Is it that simple? Of course not. But this transition into this industry may not be as difficult and as complex as you might think. You just need the right guidance, connections, and skills. Which leads me on to step 2, job acquisition. Now we have a bit of awareness of what high ticket sales actually is and what this industry can do for you. How do we take advantage of this new opportunity and get jobs within it? You're probably thinking, I have 1, 2, 3 years experience in car sales, door knocking, solar sales, and it's going to be a cakewalk. Yes, it's going to help you. Yes, it's going to play to your advantage, but that is not automatically going to guarantee that you're going to get the jobs that you're looking for. A very common idea and a big myth that a lot of salespeople believe trying to transition into this industry is that their experience is going to automatically help them land jobs by default, right? A lot of salespeople think they can join 10 Facebook groups, apply to a bunch of job posts, and they're going to get a job as easy as that. Most of the times doing that, you're going to run into a bunch of scams, people trying to sell you stuff, and a ton of bad offers that is going to waste your time. How your experience plays to your advantage is because you have the capability and the ability to perform once you get the job. You just need to understand how to generate interviews, how to interview, and how to screen offers effectively so you don't waste your time and you actually make your money that you want to make that we're talking about before. Now, the way that your experience actually plays towards your advantage is your ability to perform on the offer, your capability. So your foundational knowledge and experience in selling is going to play to your advantage and it's going to give you a competitive edge. You just need the right skills to make your break into the industry. So what do we do to combat this? As with any industry, it's about who you know, not about what you know. You need to know the right people and have the right connections to allow you to get your foot into this magical industry. As I'm sure you're already aware by now, the internet has made it more accessible and easier to apply to jobs online, but it's made it more difficult than ever to land jobs through traditional ways. We're talking about what you've probably been used to in the past: job posts, recruiters, Facebook groups, Seek, Indeed, right? Job applications. It just doesn't work anymore. Let's run some maths and look at some general statistics that I found from a quick Google search. There is an average of 350 applicants per job post. There literally is now an applicant disqualification software that basically prevents 75 to 85% of applications ever being read by a human in the first place. And on average, it takes 5 to 7 months to land a job if you're spending 11 hours per week on your job search. So how can you shortcut this? How can you evolve so that you can get as many jobs as you want in the new job economy, especially in high ticket sales? Well, number one, for starters, you can join paid communities, just like I did when I started out. When you join a paid community, typically the barrier to entry is high, typically multiple 4 figures. But then once you get past the paywall, you're already immediately surrounded by default hundreds of other sales representatives just like you who are getting their start or who have already achieved what you want and are already where you want to be. But of course, you can always try and do it the free way and connect with people outside of paid communities. However, across the board, you're probably going to find they're not as committed as you are and probably don't have the same goals or are where you want them to be so that you can actually get value from them and vice versa. Plus, it'll take a lot of time to actually vet the person to see whether or not they're actually going to help you get closer to your goals. Because again, by default, with your network, the more people that you know and the depth of people that you know is going to determine not only the frequency of jobs that you get, but also the quality. Just the other week, I came across this article that was shared in a Facebook group, and I want to share this with you. The who you know numbers. When you consider the hiring data available, a few statistics highlight that when it comes to landing an initial interview, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. Research from LinkedIn shows that in 2016, a whopping 70% of people were hired at a company where they already had a connection in place. At the most desirable companies, the number is higher, with 95% landing jobs because of connections. A study completed by Lever ATS indicated that once interviewed, a referred candidate has a 20x higher chance of getting hired than someone who applied online for a critical job. So this is not only the high ticket sales industry, this is every industry. So if you want to do this the free way, here's how I do it step by step. Step 1 is going to be building a list of your dream companies. This could be a list of anybody and everybody that you want to work with. Write down, go and do your research and find your top 10, 20, 30 companies you want to work with, and try and locate and find the sales reps that work within it. Step 2 is you want to actually outreach to these sales representatives, and you want to connect with them, add value, share your goals, and see if they can help you get closer to where you want to go. Remember, you're not asking for a job directly, you're looking for information, contacts, and helpers, right? This is the currency of networking. Step number 3 is actually getting them on the phone and booking meetings. On these calls, you're gonna have conversations with people who are where you want to be, and you're gonna get super valuable insights, information, people who you then can contact that can further get you closer to your goal and get what we like to call as referrals that are going to allow you to get the jobs that you desire. If you have enough conversations and you meet enough people, inevitably you should have more interviews than you know what to do with. As referencing back to the study before, it's always a person who knows a person. So the more people you know, the more jobs you're going to get. So once you have more interviews than you know what to do with, and they're literally pouring out of your ears, that's going to bring us to our next step, which is step 3, interviewing. Once we land the interview, how do we actually close the deal? How do we close this client so that we can go ahead and work with them? You want to think of interviews from this lens and perspective. As a commission-only sales rep, which that's what you are in the high-ticket sales industry, you are actively going out and selling for your business. There's multiple different areas of a business. We've got marketing, we've got sales, we've got fulfillment, right? We've got everything across the board. I want you to view interviewing as sales for your business. How do you sell yourself to new clients? How do you acquire new clients? This is something that you should be doing all the time. So let's go ahead and dive into it. What are the 3 questions from a principal point of view that are behind every single question that an employer is going to ask you? Number 1 is going to be capability. Are you capable of doing the job? Number 2 is going to be, will you do the job, right? Your reliability. And number 3 is going to be, do they want you to do the job? Likability. To give yourself the best chance of success, you should be committed to extremely over preparing and researching for this interview. Most salespeople don't even prepare, and even if they do, it's very far from a maximum effort. Each opportunity that you're going to come across an interview for is going to be unique and different, and this is where you can develop your competitive edge. You need to go in these interviews as the most prepared and well-researched candidate. Preparation truly is where the battle is fought and won. If you get asked the question, what is your experience, and you choke, you're dead in the water. Think about generic questions that you've probably been used to in the past. For example, tell me about yourself, and prepare good answers accordingly. In your research, in a very watered down principle, all you have to do is go to the website, go to Google, go to Facebook groups, and look at any content that you can find online. Look at their values, look at where you could craft certain answers to certain questions that you can go ahead and preemptively prepare for. I want you to put yourself in the shoes of the one hiring. What would you look for? What would you want in a sales representative? What's most important to you? What would a successful applicant actually even look like? What would you actually want to hear as an employer? Now, if you're at the point where you're now generating more interviews you know what to do with, you're passing with flying colors, the next step is going to be able to screen these offers so they can actually make the money that you want. So this brings me to my next step in the process, which is step number 4, screening. Now, once you've got more than a few offers on the table, a big warning to you is that not all offers are created equally. Most beginners to the industry, and even if you've been in sales for 5 years, still miss all the red flags and the warning signs. You've probably heard the statistics out there that more than 50% of startups fail within their first 5 years. Furthermore, it's 65% within the first 10. In the e-learning and coaching industry, more than 82% of the businesses fail within the first 2 years, and less than half of them make more than $1,000 a month. So that means only 18% of these businesses last longer than 2 years, and over half of them earn less than $1,000 a month. Why is this all so important to know? Well, if the company isn't going to last very long, then what's the point in actually working there or even pursuing it in the first place? You're going to end up wasting a lot of time and a lot of opportunity cost. But second to that, if the company isn't making a lot of money, then how could you? If you're taking 10% of the cut, as we spoke about earlier, which is typically on average what we see, you would need a business to be making $100,000 a month for you to make 10K a month. This is also contracted as well. This is not cash collected, and you need to know the difference between the two. If you sell a prospect into a program that costs $5,000, most people typically nowadays don't have $5,000 just sitting there in their bank account. So naturally, what the business will do is open up a payment plan where they can split it and break it down to make it more digestible. For example, if they break it up into 2 payments, it could be $2,500 and $2,500 in a 60-day period. In this situation, you've only collected half of the cash up front, so you get paid $250 in commission for the first month and $250 for the second month when the cash is actually put in the business's bank account. But cash collected aside, what are some red flags that you can look for, and what are some questions you can ask yourself or the business owner to establish whether or not the company is going to be a right fit for you? A couple scammy things or red flags you can generally look for across the board is, number one, if the company is paying higher than 20% in commission rate, there's likely a shortcut that they're taking, and they're probably doing something dodgy in the back end. And it's not really a scammy thing, but in this industry, doing cold calling and cold messaging to business owners is going to be typically a pretty big no-no, and you want to tend to avoid those offers. Some questions you can ask is confirmation of what is the main offer that they're selling. Who are the people that buy the stuff that they offer? What is their marketing? Do they have certain types of marketing diversification? Are they advertising on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram? How much money are they spending? How many leads do they have? Are they replacing staff or adding new staff? What are their plans to grow the business? What have they done in contracted in revenue the past 3 months? What have they done on average in cash collected? What is the top performer doing? What is the lowest performer doing? What's the average performer doing? If you take some of these questions, they're going to really help you be a little bit more armed and a little bit more ready to understand the information that you need to attain in these interviews to establish whether or not this business can get you to your goals. Our private clients have access to limitless questions and can lean on me for experience to cross-check these offers. If I gave you everything, if I gave you access to the whole playbook, that would absolutely kill me. So these questions should do for now. Step number 5, the 4 levels of income. Now, while it's all very exciting about all this money that we can make in this industry, how do we actually appropriately make the transition to this industry the right way without making too many rash decisions and making silly moves? We're not changing career here, but we are moving to an industry where it's predominantly commission only. You only eat what you kill. You only earn what you bring to the table. Sales is a very wonderful and great game to play if you're a competitive person by nature, because it is a meritocracy and you get paid in proportion to what you bring to the table, and the best of the best rise to the top. However, if you're a beginner and you're thinking about transitioning this industry, you need to be fully aware of what you need to make in order to do that. You can do this by breaking your income goals into 4 different levels: existence, substitution, savings, and dream. All the level of resistance basically means is your survival income. What do you need to put food on the table and keep a roof over your head? That's literally it. You're not getting any money outside of that. It's literally just your survival income. And that's going to differ from person to person. So you need to establish what that is for you. Step number 2 is substitution. Now, it's in the name and you probably might already take a quick guess, but it's basically your replacement income. It's what do you need to earn in order to replace what you're currently doing now. That could be 2K a month. That could be 4K a month. That could be all the way up to $10,000 a month. You need to actually put this in writing and understand where you are at comparatively to where you want to be, and whether or not, again, this offer will enable you to replace your current income or you're going to go beneath it. The 3rd level of income is savings income, which basically puts you in the position to pay all your bills, replace your current income, and also be able to put a little bit of money away for a rainy day, right? Build an emergency fund and build some money together so that if anything were to go wrong, you're pretty much good for at least a 6 month to a year period. And then finally, we have dreams. So again, this is going to be personal preference and it's going to be unique to you, but you have to find out and understand what is your dream income, because when you're vetting and looking and screening at offers, you want to make sure that the offer is giving you the ability either now or in the future to progress to your dream income. If they can't, then what is the point of you pursuing that opportunity? Really, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So make sure that if it's 10K a month, it's a 15K a month, if it's 20K a month in commissions, establish it, find out what it is, write it down, so that you can actually have a little bit of an understanding of what it is that you're looking for in the offers that you're talking to and having interviews with. With this breakdown of the 4 levels, you should be understanding a little bit more of the income levels that you should be aiming for just a little bit better. Step number 6 is going to be a checklist of 13 things that I wish I knew getting into high ticket sales 5 years ago. Tip number 1 is being patient, having patience, having long-term thinking. A lot of people when they get in this space want things now, they want things tomorrow, they want things in the next couple months from now. I can assure you, to really see the results that you're looking for, to really bear fruit, you're looking at 1, 2, 3 years in this industry to really maximize your potential. We're talking about $10, $20, $30,000 in commissions every single month. That is a massive upside in earning potential, which you're not going to find in many industries outside of sales and outside of high ticket sales in particular. I know a lot of people in 9-to-5 jobs that would love to earn that. So I think a lot of people want things now, think a little bit more longer term, actually plan and map out a strategy and an execution plan so that you can get to your goals in the time that is appropriate, not just the next week, not just a couple weeks, and not just a couple months from now. Think in not months, but years. Tip number 2 is going to be the make money online tax. Now, what is this and what I mean by make money online tax? Long story short, with any new skill, any new industry, inevitably you're going to come across roadblocks. You're going to come across things that more experienced people would know. This is why getting a mentor is super, super important in this process, because there's going to be a lot of times where you are met with ignorance. You think an offer is good and it is not good. You end up taking it and you end up wasting weeks and months of your time because you didn't have the right guidance. Understand that across your journey, you're going to have times where you are going to encounter this regardless of what you do. And just surrender and accept that you're going to make mistakes because it is only natural and it is only normal when you are doing something that you are just learning about, you're learning a new skill, and of course, you're entering into a new industry. Tip number 3 will be don't stay on a bad offer for too long. All too often, I made this mistake earlier in my career, and I see this happen with so many new guys that come into the space. A lot of people end up getting attached to the business owner, wanting to work with them, and really just not working an offer that's not serving them and benefiting them whatsoever. Don't be afraid to cut an offer off too quickly. Sometimes you don't want to be in the position where you're offer hopping and jumping from offer to offer, as I would like to say. We call them offer hoppers in our industry. But you want to make sure that the offer can really get you to where you want to go. There's no point in wasting time on an offer that can't. Tip number 4 would be to not quit your sales job too early. It's very common that a lot of people want to go all in. They want to dive in straight away and they give up their salary job or somewhere where they're earning okay money to keep a roof over their head for a commission-only sales role. They go in, they end up getting cooked, and they don't earn any money. It's not going to put you in a good position, and it's generally not a smart move. So what I would suggest is making sure that you're at least working part-time in the industry so you can eventually transition and make the money that you want without having to risk your livelihood and basically going back to where you're just existing, as we spoke about before, and you're just surviving. No one wants that. Tip number 5 is going to be taking offers out of choice and not desperation. Let me explain and break this down. A lot of newcomers to the industry and a lot of beginners take the first offer that they see. If it's cold calling, if it's cold messaging, they usually end up on a shit offer and end up wasting a ton of time. When people do this, it's not just the time that you're losing, but it's also the opportunity cost. Every week, every day, every month, every year, you work on an offer that cannot get you to your maximum earning potential, you are losing out on potentially multiple 4 figures, 5 figures, upwards of multiple 5 figures and multiple 6 figures every single year, but multiple 5 figures every month. So make sure that you put your time and do the due diligence to do the research on the companies that you work with and take time to get more offers on the table rather than just going at the first one that you see. Tip number 6 is thinking like a founder and a business owner and not just as an employee. A lot of people bring a 9-to-5er mindset into a commission-only space. You cannot bring an employee mindset, a 9-to-5er mindset, in a place where you are paid in accordance to your performance. It simply doesn't make any sense, but a lot of people generally end up doing it. You need to transition to a literal new identity. You need to act like a different person to achieve the results that you want. You cannot be blaming other people. You need to be taking accountability and you need to be putting your best foot forward every single day in generating interviews, in creating a personal brand, in speaking to more offers, in performing on offers, right? You need to do these things so that you can really, really put your best foot ahead and actually get to the top 1%, top 10% even of the industry. Tip number 7 is your personal brand absolutely matters. If people don't know who you are, they don't know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you, how will they ever hire you? If your dream companies have no idea who you are, how will they ever hire you, right? You need to post content, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, whether it's LinkedIn. You have to get content up so that you can be a trustworthy and credible person to bring onto someone's sales team. Think about it from the business owner's position. Would you trust somebody who you have no idea who they are, no credibility, no authority, no content, no presence with your leads that have costed them $100, a couple $100, all the way up to $1,000? You need to make sure that you establish yourself as a credibility and authority by posting content. Tip number 8 is going to be slow to hire and quick to fire. Now, I don't want you to misinterpret this the wrong way. Again, I don't want you to be an offer hopper where you're going from business to business to business to business, expecting things to be different and expecting things to change. But what I am saying is be patient and take your time with the offers and opportunities that come across your table, and actually take the time to vet them, right? A lot of people tend to rush into things. Really pull your head out of the sand, do the math, ask the right questions so that you make sure that the home that you choose to settle down in and the job that you choose to acquire and accept, make sure it's the right one. Tip number 9 is this is not a side hustle, so don't treat it like one. A lot of people think that high ticket sales can just be a side hustle, a little thing that you do on the side. I'm here to abolish that reality and that perception for you, but that's just simply not the case. You really, really need to give it your all to this skill because you can make so much money in doing so. And there's other people that are competing for your spot, right? So you need to make sure that you're doing everything possible to put yourself in the best position to be successful. And that is not basically just putting in a half-ass effort and not really giving it your all. Across the board, I've really seen nobody that is successful in this industry that kind of half-asses it, right? You need to make sure that this is your only thing. You're not trying drop shipping. You're not trying this. You're not trying that. You're not distracted with anything else. This is your one singular core focus, and it's not something that you kind of just here or there in. You are all in and you are focused on the one skill and the one industry. Tip number 10, in regards to sales training, pick 1 or 2 mentors and listen to them alone. What I see with a lot of young guys and beginners in this industry is they hear all these people, these sales trainers that say, you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. I'm going to break the reality for you. All of them are effective to a degree. Some sales processes and some sales trainings are more effective than others, but usually across the board, they're all going to be pretty good. It's only going to be a marginal change across the board. But a massive problem that I'm seeing with a lot of people right now is because there's so much confusion in the marketplace, and this guy says you have to objection handle to make your way to 20K a month, and this guy says networking is the only thing that's required for 15, 20K a month in commissions, and this guy says you have to put the price at the top or at the bottom. I'm here to tell you, it all doesn't matter. Just pick 1 or 2 people, focus on learning from them, and don't get distracted and try and Frankenstein things. I see a lot of people mixing and making a lot of mistakes by trying to sell 7 different ways in one sales process. I can assure you it doesn't work, and it's going to profoundly benefit you by just picking 1 or 2 people that you listen to, and that is that. Tip number 11 is nothing for a while and then all at once. A lot of the times what I see across the board with all my clients and myself again and again and again and again is that when you're learning something new, you're doing something different, you're going to suck when you first start out. And especially with high ticket sales, even with the right guidance, you are going to have mistakes, you are going to have roadblocks, and you are going to have problems that you encounter along the way. This is just inevitable with anything that you're going to do. There is going to be a period, there's going to be a phase where you end up eating a lot of shit and it's not going to be fun for you. But this is the place and this is the period when most people end up quitting. They say making money online is not real, it doesn't work, high ticket sales isn't for me. This is what we hear across the board. But if you can withstand, if you can continue in pursuit of what it is that you want in specific high ticket sales, if you keep going 1, 2, 3 months, 6 months, a year, couple years, you're going to see the maximization of your potential. And a lot of people quit way too early, and I see that across the board. So understand that compounding is really, really important to understand and factor into this equation. The more that you do, the more you get out. Right, it's not rocket science. Tip number 12 is inputs equal outputs. As we just broke down earlier, what you put in is what you get out. And to be put very simply, you need to figure out what it is that you want very clearly and then work your way backwards. If you want to make 10K a month working part-time hours on a flexible schedule in this niche, this industry, as a certain position as a closer, then you need to be very specific on that and work your way backwards. How are you going to get to that result? What is the amount of effort? What is the strategy? What is the time required as the inputs to get to where you want to go? Although a very simple way of thinking, when you really break your goals down to the micro level at this point, it's really going to help you understand where you're going, what you're doing, so you can actually formulate a proper plan that you can execute on to get to where you want to go. And the last and final tip is tip number 13, guaranteed placement. Now, a very common mistake that a lot of beginners fall into is thinking that guaranteed placement automatically equals guaranteed income. As we spoke about before, across the board, we know many of these businesses aren't going to last longer than 2 years. In fact, the vast majority of them, over 50%, make less than $1,000 a month. Now, what does that tell you? A lot of the times, these people are going to be placing you with businesses that aren't going to enable you to maximize your full potential and make the money that you want. Or even worse, the business doesn't even have enough traction or sustainability to actually even pay you any money at all, which I see this across the board. A lot of people end up working for free for these companies, believing it's eventually going to get to where they want to go, but it never does. And just to finish on that point, let's say that it does work out for you. Let's say that you're making 10K a month. What happens when the ads get banned or the fulfillment breaks or something happens? How do you get the next job? Do you go and pay them the fee again? Or what do, right? You need the right skills so that you can go out and get your own jobs on your own. Otherwise, you are going to be cooked. Now, that is just a very small glimpse of everything that I know because I can't fit everything into this already very long YouTube video. Plus, I can't reveal all my methods to everybody on YouTube publicly available. Otherwise, it gets saturated too fast and it'd be an absolute disservice to my clients. All my clients, my community get access to everything that I've known about this space and learned about this space over the past 5 years, so they can shortcut and fast track their way to 8 to 12K a month in commissions every single month, even as complete beginners. Step number 7, the next step. Now, I know you probably think getting to 8 to 12K a month in commissions is going to be really difficult and really complex. Trust me, it's not. If you have the right guidance, the right help, it can actually be really, really simple. With your newfound skills, where do we actually go from here? So once we've got the money, we've unlocked the freedom, how do we actually get to that next step? Once we're making 8 to 12K a month consistently, what is the thing that comes after that? Well, to be honest with you, 90% of the clients that I speak to and people that I've met in the high ticket sales space or salespeople across the board don't want to stick in sales forever. It's not something that they're obsessed with, and that's totally okay, right? It's very normal to think that way, right? There's going to be a very small percentage of you watching this video that will do sales the rest of your life. Most people inevitably want to get off calls and not be stuck to a time zone and have to show up to certain sales meetings at a certain hour on a certain day. At this stage and this level of income, you've already got geographical freedom. You can work from wherever you want in the world, as long as your time zone allows it. You're making good money, but the only problem is that you don't have complete autonomy. This is where you can become what I like to call a money printer. The money printer has 2 pathways: starting your own offer or becoming a partner with already existing businesses and scaling them up and taking certain equity or profit share. The reason you either partner with other businesses or create your own is because through this experience, making 8 to 12K monthly commissions every single month in this particular space, you've worked with multi 6, 7, 8, potentially even 9-figure businesses, and you found out what makes them tick, what actually makes these businesses successful, and why are they the way that they are. You've seen the fulfillment, you've seen the marketing, you've seen the backend, you've seen the emails they're sent. You know how the sales process works across the board. And this is all because you've actually been in the trenches and you've learned something, and you've not just learned how to sell, and you've not just earned great money and earned geographical freedom, but you've learned the skills that come around the skill. However, not everybody is meant to become a business owner, and that is natural and that is normal. That is where the second pathway for the money printer comes in. When you understand the principles and the main pillars of business, and you understand that there's a marketing department, you understand there's operations, there's team, there's finance, there's lead generation, there's product, this is when I would label you as a money printer. You can walk into any business with all these skills and all these tools and all this knowledge that you've learned and bring it to the table and take a slice of someone's business or get a slice of the profit share that you add to the already existing business. Now, can someone do this right away with no experience as a complete beginner? Of course not. But give it a few years or even 1 to 2 years being taught under the right guidance, and you can get there a lot faster than you would on your own. In this current job market, whether it's high ticket sales or any job economy, you need to build skills to become irreplaceable and undeniable. We actually talk about this concept a lot inside my RSA Inner Circle. We take guys and 2 to 3x their commissions in a 6-month time frame, and also talk about and mastermind all the different skills that I've learned over the past 5 years working with multiple different businesses, so that you can accelerate that learning curve and make that transition when you would like to do so. I myself have done it successfully twice now, but I have made a ton of mistakes along the way, and that's why I wish I'd paid mentors earlier to learn all the lessons and learnings that they have, so I could kind of shortcut my mistakes and get to where I wanted to go much faster. However, if you execute on that cycle correctly and the right timelines of becoming a high ticket closer, make an 8 to 12K a month every single month in commissions, and learn the right skills and have the right experiences and meet the right people to help you appropriately make that transition, you could probably achieve a whole lot more than you'd actually think. So in conclusion, to get to 8 to 12K a month actually isn't as difficult as you might think. As long as you have the right structure, the right strategy, the right guidance, you can get there a lot quicker than you would think, and as long as you follow the steps, you will inevitably get there. Now, a lot of guys out there pretend to know what they're talking about when it comes to high ticket sales, but a word of warning, there's a lot of people out there that are selling the dream of telling you that it's going to be easy. They've never done it in their life, and they're just basically a marketer, and they've got the fast cars and the fancy editing, and they trick and try and get you to believe that they know what they're talking about, but they simply don't. Or even worse, they've barely even done it for 6 months to a year, and now they're claiming that they can help people get into this industry and do what they achieved, but they've not really had much experience across the board at all. I've been in this industry for 5+ years, so there's a massive difference there. So if you're looking to transition into this industry, you're looking to take advantage of this new opportunity, this new vehicle, so you can maximize your potential, and you want to do it the right way with the right steps, I have a mastermind where I help people do this every single day. At this point, I've already coached hundreds of people to do exactly what you want to achieve. So let me break down exactly how we do it step by step. Step number 1 is you watching all of the relevant training in our online portal to get you your first job. Now, there's a ton of stuff in there, and I really don't want you to get distracted. So we're really going to be hyper focusing on getting you that first rock solid role, and we have a very step-by-step roadmap to get you there. This is going to take priority over your sales training in the beginning, because if you're experienced and you have background in sales in the past, which you should if you're watching this video, 80% of your time is going to be spent on finding a good role. And we have exactly step-by-step, back to front on how to do that. Step number 2 is you're going to have a one-on-one onboarding call with me on my team. On that call, we're going to map out for you the exact step-by-step blueprint that you need to follow in accordance to your goals. We're going to cover all your questions after going through the training, so you are set up, you are clear on what it is exactly you need to do, why you need to do things, how you need to do things, from someone who has been there, done that, for many plus years. And also be very skeptical of the guys that tell you that you can get to 10K a month in the next 30, 60, 90 days. Is it possible? Yes. Is it unlikely? Yes as well. There's so many things that these guys don't factor in because they lack experience. They just don't know what it's like being in the trenches. You're going to encounter problems. You'll encounter roadblocks. This is only natural and normal. And to have the expectation that you're going to get results overnight is simply someone that I don't want to work with. To be frank with you, we're going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. This isn't going to happen overnight, and it will take a lot of effort from your part. So once you've had your onboarding call, step number 3 is going to be networking. We're going to talk about your outreach messages. We're going to talk about your results. We're going to talk about your personal branding to make sure that you have all the right adjustments to make sure that you're on the right trajectory to achieve and accomplish your goals. We'll break down your conversations, we'll break down your content, we'll break everything down in your entire process so that you can have more conversations, build more relationships, get more interviews, and inevitably have more job offers on the table than you know what to do with. Step number 4 is going to be all about learning how you can convert these interviews into actual opportunities. We're going to go with you step by step and help you prepare all the questions you're going to ask on the interview, all the answers that you need to prepare so you can have your best chance of success and beat everybody else in the market. Step number 5 is going to be screening your offers that you have on the table. As I spoke about earlier in the training, you're going to be at a point where you have more offers on the table than you know what to do with. You would literally be overwhelmed with choice. Even with good training, even with everything in front of you, it's really hard to tell right from wrong, good from bad as a complete beginner. So in this situation, you're actually going to lean on me as a sounding board to go through a specific offer check process and lean on my experience so that I can tell you whether or not these offers are going to be good or not. Step number 6 is going to be accepting your offer, landing your offer, and going through the ramp up period. Typically on average, it takes about 3 to 5 weeks for all my clients to land their first rock solid role. So me and my team are going to give you all the skills necessary on top of what you already have so that you can comfortably and confidently sell offers from $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, all the way up to $100,000. I myself have sold packages as expensive as $30,000 upward to $50,000 for business coaching, training, and agency services. In combination with that, over the last 4 or 5 years, I've worked with some of the best sales trainers in the space and invested a lot of money, a lot of my own capital towards my own sales training skills and development. But the thing is, no matter what any sales trainer tells you, getting better at sales simply just takes time, and that is the fact. That is why I say it can take anywhere between 4 and 6 months to achieve most financial targets that people set out for themselves. In combination with all these steps, if you know how to, get infinite interviews when you know how to network correctly, close offer owners on interviews on why you'd be a valuable asset to the team, screen the offers correctly so you can actually make the money that you want, and actually sell really well and have the skills required to perform on the offer, it is simply undeniable that you will be successful. This is the exact step-by-step blueprint that I take all my clients and students through. Specifically naming one of my students, Kashi, who went from door-to-door sales in just 4 months at 18 years old, was making anywhere between 8 and 12K a month in commissions, traveling the world, going to Thailand.
On like a scale of 1 to 10, probably like a 10 out of 10, right, when it comes to recommending this to someone else. Because when I think back to 3 months ago on to find a right mentor, it was very hard to see who was really speaking the truth and was being authentic. And because I've already experienced it, the one-on-one support, if you show up and do the hard work, you will get results. And I've personally gone through it, then there's no better recommendation for me because I've literally done it myself from you. So I would recommend this to anyone of my friends who actually want to do the hard work, who want to show up and do it. If they do the hard work, then they'll get it. And I'll recommend you as a mentor for sure when it comes to that.
If you're actually dedicated and making this transition is something that you're actually serious about, and you're actually interested in working with me together on this, click down below in the description. You're going to find a link to go ahead and book a call to see if you might be a fit for the RSA Mastermind. On that call, you're going to be talking to me and my team. We're going to find out more about your situation, your goals, what it is exactly clearly that you are looking for, to see if we can actually help you to get to where you want to go. Again, this is only for people that are actually serious about this and dedicated to making this work. I don't want to put anyone inside my mastermind that's not going to be successful, that's not going to give it their all, and going to drag my success rate down. The only point of this entire first program is to get you into my second, way more expensive program, the RSA Inner Circle, as I discussed before. And I know that you're not going to purchase such a big program without getting insane results first. In fact, I wouldn't even let you in the first place if you weren't already doing 8 to 12K a month every single month. And that's why I implemented this strategy, so you see big success before you enter the big program. The whole point of this thing is I only make legit money if you do too. We get a ton of applications every single day and we cannot work with everybody. And this isn't some type of marketing BS or some type of trick I'm trying to play on you. We genuinely cannot help everybody that both applies or even makes it to a call in the first place. So if you're interested, click the link down below and me and my team will speak to you very, very soon.